Everyone knows Muhammad Ali for what he said, the boasts, the poetry, the declarations that shook arenas and silenced critics, but very few know what he did in the dark. In the hours before dawn, when cameras slept and crowds disappeared. In the moments when talent meant nothing and only discipline could carry him forward. This is not a story about a man who was born great. This is a story about a man who built greatness, brick by brick, in silence, when no one was watching. Before the world knew Muhammad Ali, there was a 12-year-old boy named Cassius Clay, standing in a Louisville police station, shaking with rage and tears streaming down his face. Someone had stolen his bicycle. A red and white Schwinn, $60. To his family, that was a fortune. To young Cassius, it was everything. The officer on duty that day was a boxing coach named Joe Martin. He told the boy if he wanted to fight the thief, he'd better learn how to box first. Cassius showed up to the gym the next day. And the day after that, and the day after that. What drove him wasn't talent, it was fear. Fear of being powerless. Fear of losing what little he had. Fear of being nobody in a world that had already decided he didn't matter because of the color of his skin. That fear became fuel, and fuel, when disciplined, becomes fire. In those early years, Cassius Clay trained with an obsession that disturbed even his coaches. While other boys showed up 3 times a week, he showed up 6. While others shadow boxed for 5 minutes, he went for 20. While others went home to rest, he ran, alone, in the heat, in the rain, in the brutal Kentucky winters. He wasn't the most talented kid in that gym, but he was the most relentless, and that made all the difference. Champions are built in public, legends are built in private. Long before Ali became a household name, he was a teenager running through the streets of Louisville at 5 in the morning. Not because a coach told him to, not because anyone was watching, but because he understood something most people never learn. Motivation gets you started, but discipline gets you there. The roadwork was brutal, mile after mile in worn-out shoes, breath burning in his lungs, legs screaming for rest. There was no applause, no cameras, no one to impress. Just him, the pavement, and the question every great athlete must answer: will you do this when no one is watching? Ali's answer was always yes. After the runs came the shadow boxing, hours of it. Throwing punches at air, perfecting angles, sharpening speed. It looked like nothing, it felt like torture. But it was everything, because real discipline isn't glamorous. It's repetitive, it's boring. It's doing the same thing 1,000 times until your body knows it better than your mind. He trained in basements and dusty gyms that smelled of sweat and old leather. He sparred with men who wanted to hurt him to prove they were better. And every time he got hit, every time he tasted blood, he came back the next day, not with anger, with focus. This was the foundation. This was the part no one talks about when they celebrate the knockouts and the titles. The silent mornings, the lonely miles, the discipline that turned a scared kid into a machine. Most fighters train their fists. Ali trained his mind. He understood something profound. The body will only go as far as the mind allows. So he didn't just run to build endurance. He ran to build belief. Every step was a conversation with himself. I am the greatest. I am the fastest. I will not be broken. Visualization became his weapon. Before every fight, Ali would see himself winning. Not as a fantasy, but as a blueprint. He'd imagine every round, every combination, every moment his opponent would break. He rehearsed victory many times in his mind that when the fight came, it felt like repetition. Self-talk wasn't arrogance, it was armor. Ali knew the world wanted him to fail, knew the hatred waiting for him outside the ring. So he built a fortress inside his own head, a place where doubt couldn't reach him. And every day, through discipline, he reinforced that fortress. Fear didn't disappear. He learned to make it useful. Before big fights, the fear would come. The what-ifs, the possibility of humiliation. But instead of running from it, Ali ran toward it. He used fear as a reminder. This matters. So prepare like it matters. Mental toughness isn't about feeling nothing. It's about feeling everything and moving forward anyway. When Ali became famous, the discipline didn't get easier. It got harder. Suddenly, every word was scrutinized. Every move was judged. The media wanted sound bites. Opponents wanted revenge. The government wanted submission. And through it all, Ali had to remain focused on the only thing that mattered, the work. In 1964, after shocking the world by defeating Sonny Liston, Ali made a decision that would define his life. He joined the Nation of Islam and changed his name. The backlash was immediate and vicious. Sports writers refused to call him Muhammad Ali. Fans turned on him. Sponsors abandoned him. But discipline kept him steady. While the world screamed, he trained. While critics attacked, he ran. He understood that emotion is the enemy of excellence. That if he let the hatred in, it would rot him from the inside. Then came the ultimate test. In 1967, Ali refused to be drafted into the Vietnam War. He was stripped of his titles, banned from boxing, threatened with prison. He lost 3.5 years of his prime. The years when an athlete is at his peak, stolen. Lesser men would have crumbled, would have given up, would have let bitterness poison them. Ali trained anyway, in gyms that let him in basements, in parks. Even when he couldn't fight professionally, he kept his body ready and his mind sharp. Because discipline isn't conditional. It doesn't wait for fair circumstances. It shows up, especially when life is unfair. People love to celebrate success. They rarely want to discuss the price. Ali's discipline demanded isolation. While his friends went to parties, he stayed in training camps. While others enjoyed their youth, he endured brutal sparring sessions that left him battered and exhausted. Rest days were rare. Easy days didn't exist. The physical toll was relentless. Hands swollen from hitting heavy bags. Joints aching from thousands of miles on hard pavement. Cuts that never fully healed before the next fight opened them again. Pain became normal. Sleep became a luxury. There were nights when Ali questioned everything. When his body begged for mercy. When quitting seemed reasonable, even logical. But discipline isn't about doing what feels good. It's about doing what's required. The people around him saw the glamour, the championship belts, the fame. They didn't see the mornings he couldn't get out of bed without wincing. The ice baths, the countless hours of rehab. The sacrifices that had nothing to do with boxing. Time with family, simple pleasures, the freedom to just exist without always preparing for the next battle. Greatness costs everything, and Ali paid in full. Ali faced men who were stronger, men who were younger, men who, on paper, should have destroyed him. George Foreman in Zaire, 1974. Foreman was a wrecking ball, an unstoppable force who had demolished Joe Frazier and Ken Norton in 2 rounds each. Ali was past his prime, slower, and everyone expected him to be carried out on a stretcher. But Ali had something Foreman didn't: discipline refined into strategy. He trained specifically for Foreman's power. He leaned against the ropes and let Foreman punch himself into exhaustion, a tactic later called the rope-a-dope. It looked insane. It was genius, and it only worked because Ali had spent years conditioning his body to absorb punishment and his mind to stay calm under fire. Talent opens doors, but discipline is what keeps you in the room when everyone else has left. Foreman had all the talent in the world. Ali had all the discipline. And in the 8th round, when Foreman's arms dropped from exhaustion, Ali knocked him out. The younger fighter learned a hard lesson that night. Talent without discipline is just potential. And potential doesn't win championships. Ali lost multiple times, and each loss threatened to destroy everything he'd built. Joe Frazier handed him his first professional defeat in 1971. The fight of the century ended with Ali on the canvas, his jaw broken, his pride shattered. For someone who had proclaimed himself the greatest, losing felt like death. But here's what separated Ali from everyone else. He didn't let defeat redefine him. He let it refine him. After the Frazier loss, Ali could have made excuses, could have blamed the judges, his training, the long layoff. Instead, he went back to the basics, back to the road work, back to the discipline that built him in the first place. He studied the fight obsessively, identified his mistakes, adjusted his approach, and when he faced Frazier again, he was better. Not because he wanted revenge, but because he had learned. Discipline after victory is impressive. Discipline after humiliation is transformative. Ali understood that setbacks don't end the story. They're just another chapter. And the only way to write the next chapter is to show up, do the work, and trust the process even when results seem impossible. Resilience isn't bouncing back, it's grinding back. One day, one session, 1 mile at a time. By the late 1970s, Ali's body was betraying him. The speed that made him untouchable was gone. The reflexes that let him slip punches now arrived a split second too late. Younger fighters smelled blood. But the discipline remained. If anything, it intensified. Ali couldn't rely on physical gifts anymore, so he leaned harder on preparation. He studied opponents longer, trained smarter, not just harder. He adjusted his style, became more calculated, more economical with his energy. This version of Ali wasn't as exciting. The rope-a-dope became necessity, not choice. The dancing was replaced with survival. But he kept fighting because discipline had become his identity. It wasn't something he did, it was who he was. In 1980, at age 38, Ali fought Larry Holmes, a former sparring partner now in his prime. It was painful to watch. Ali absorbed punishment for 10 rounds before his corner mercifully stopped the fight. He had nothing left, his body had finally given out. But even in defeat, even in decline, Ali demonstrated something crucial. Discipline doesn't guarantee victory. It guarantees you gave everything you had. And sometimes, that's the only victory that matters. Muhammad Ali's last fight was in 1981. His last moment of discipline was the day he died in 2016. When Parkinson's disease stole his voice, the voice that once shook the world, Ali didn't disappear. He showed up, at charity events, at peace conferences, at moments when the world needed reminding that strength isn't always loud. The same discipline that made him a champion made him a humanitarian. The same relentless work ethic that drove him through training camps drove him to fight for civil rights, for religious freedom, for the powerless. Ali's championships are history, but his discipline is a lesson that never expires. He proved that greatness isn't genetic. It's built in the dark, in the pain, in the moments when no one is watching and you have every reason to quit, but you keep going anyway. He showed us that talent might get you noticed, but discipline gets you remembered. He demonstrated that success isn't about being better than everyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. Every single day, for decades, until excellence becomes inevitable. Muhammad Ali didn't become the greatest because he was born special. He became the greatest because he refused to waste a single day. When his body was tired, he trained his mind. When his mind was tired, he trusted his discipline. When discipline was all he had left, it was enough. This is the story they don't tell in highlight reels. The story of the 5 a.m. runs nobody filmed, the sparring sessions nobody attended. The moments when quitting would have been easy and continuing required everything. The world remembers Ali for his words, but words are easy. What built the legend was what he did when the talking stopped. The silent work, the unglamorous repetition, the commitment to excellence when no one was keeping score. That's the real lesson. Not that Muhammad Ali was great, but that greatness is available to anyone willing to pay the price. And the price is always the same. Discipline. Every day. No excuses. No exceptions. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that excellence is earned, not given, then do something with that feeling. Hit the like button, Subscribe for more deep dives into the minds and methods of the world's most disciplined individuals. And leave a comment. What's one area of your life where you need to bring more discipline? What's your 5 a.m. run? Because the only thing more powerful than being inspired is taking action. And action, repeated with discipline, is how legends are made. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. The question is whether you're willing to do what it takes, every day, when no one is watching, when it's hard, when it would be easier to stop. Muhammad Ali answered yes for 50 years. Now it's your turn.